Hi, this is the second part to the Toon Boom video. If you haven't seen the first part, watch it because you'll miss some of the context and I don't want you to be lost. Yeah, we're gonna get into the video. Alright, see ya.
There's a guy. And then paint bucket, which is like the used tool when it comes to coloring. So I'm gonna do a quick little doodle of guy, a little goober. Here you go. This little guy, he's just chilling, having a good day. You press this button to send it to color art so you can color it in. And we have so many different options. Again, also you can just access some of it through here just by clicking on the image and it gives you the options. And you will know there's more options if it has that little light gray like arrow in the corner. But honestly, most of this works the way it's named. Like stroke, it just acts as another line. So if you have to like let's say you're doing like special rendering, you can do this and just manually add it in for the shading. Which I have used this before. It is pretty cool. I like it. It has its use. It's useful. And close gap, it's in its name. If there's a gap, which you know there's a gap when there's yellow on the corners, you just kind of do that and it closes. It's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. And same with these buttons. If the buttons have the same on any areas, it does the same thing. So you already know what they do. So I don't have to re-explain it. Let's just give him a nice gradient color. He's a gradient man. Wow. Look at him. He's just a guy. Also, if you press these arrows here, it lets you resize it. You also can drag by clicking in the middle area. I usually keep some of it closed down just for layout reasons, but yeah. Again, we have eyedropper, which texture eyedropper, which is if you have textures, but I don't need to explain it. The peg piece, which I don't actually mess with that often, but it has its purpose, trust, I just don't use it. There's also a morphing tool, which I'm pretty sure really only is useful if you have pegs of some sort, like you have a little character puppet of some sort, but I don't have that, so if you're doing traditional just frame by frame or whatever, it probably isn't as useful. But I don't know, I don't really use this as often, so. And of course you have the usual hand zoom and all this other stuff. Shift and trace is good if you just want to move a reference and be able to draw over it to keep stuff on model. But yeah, I don't use that as often either. But yeah, again, you can also zoom in by using scroll wheel, and there's also a keyboard shortcut for it, but it's like really stupid, and I don't remember it because I never used the keyboard shortcut. Also, these, as you see on here, again, you have to have onion skin toggled for this to work, which I'll explain that to as well in a second. Let me drag this little thingy. Can I grab it? Okay, no. There you go. There you go. Actually, there you go. Okay. But if you have onion skin toggle, you see that green section right here? That's showing you how far your onion skin is toggled, which again, if you have it turned on here as well, it works. You see, it triggers. However many I have range-wise, it's going to also apply here, which is useful when you're trying to animate in specific areas. Which I honestly should use this more. Also, if you want to animate rather by drawings, so you don't have to keep scrubbing through frames or moving frames over, set it by drawings. This saves so much headache. So much headache. I didn't know this until more recently, and now I can't stop using it, so do that. Also, if you want extra windows on the side, you just press the plus again and click on what you want. I have an onion skin camera node view on here, so yay. This is just showing opacity, which these are affected the exact same way. I just leave them alone. I usually just use the middle because it works better that way and it's more clear for me. But I normally just have it on animate on current frame, but you see it's gone, but you can still see it because onion skin is triggered, but if I turn it off, you can't see it no more. And then animate off, it just, I don't really know what that does. I never turned it to animate off because I'm always animating when I'm in this program. This is simply for camera movements, which also is great if you want to do silly little movement, which I will explain. I will give you a beautiful example. Hold up. I mean, also, if you want to be able to drag stuff, sometimes you gotta zoom in order for it to trigger, which for some reason this is not working like it usually does, so I just have to press the arrow. But let's say you want to have this guy slide over to the side. What I would usually do is press this insert keyframe to have the base where he starts at still there so you don't lose it. And since there's already a keyframe set, I'm not sure, okay, yeah, it's not affecting it. So I'll just set another keyframe here, and then just move the guy. If you want it to move in a straight line, you just hold shift, but because I'm holding a microphone, I can't do that. But you get the point. He slides, see? This is actually very useful. Oh yeah, now I remember what this does. This is just showing where the middle part is, which I'll just have it remained here because that's tripping me out to have it up there. It only works with the camera thingy, or the transform tool. I think that's the name of it. Yeah, transform. Which also you can change the size of it, but I'm not gonna do that. This is really fun if you want to just goof around and do some silly stuff, or just simple tween movements. Like if you're trying to tween specific areas, this could be useful. Or just have stuff sliding in the background. I use this a lot because it's very helpful, and once I figure it out, I can do this rather than copying, pasting, and moving. Ah, it saved my life. But there's the little guy. He just moves. It's pretty simple. You don't have to actually animate with this. It's just kind of keyframes. For those who don't know, if you set keyframes within the program and move it, you don't have to manually draw it. The computer kind of like it fills in the gaps and shifts it to where the other keyframe is set, which is interesting. It's not AI, it's just programming within the system. Well, I guess it's not the generative AI, it's just computer using math to figure out how to get this to move. But I use this a lot. It's very helpful. And if you want to just have it untoggled, you just press on any of the other tools and you don't have to see that anymore. Just sliding. Inverse kinetic, just another way to rotate. Why was that so funny? You can do a lot of silly stuff with that. I don't really use it, but it's very funny. Look at that. He just kind of just spins. I'm having too much fun with this. Yeah, again, same as other, if you just select on something else, it unselects it, but it still has the effect. That's so funny. That's so funny. Yeah, also these buttons here, it's affected by how you label the keyframes and such on here, but I don't really press those buttons. You also can remove keyframes by pressing the minus. It's kind of self-explanatory. Also, if you want to change the curves, you press on this and click any of these. I think this also affects it, but I don't really press those buttons because I kind of just do the movements how I want it and keep it moving. Now, you know, I already told you, if you click this, it kind of clears it out, which, like this, so you can draw again. But another thing you could do if you don't want to erase it, and you don't want to have to go and select and copy and then make a new, make a new frame or whatever to paste it in, you just click on this, and it makes a duplicate. I feel like this button kind of gets forgotten sometimes by people, because, like, I mean, you usually just going to draw the same thing or copy everything over and paste it. It's so much easier just to go where you want it to cut off, click on this, and do your edits, because once you click this button, anything within this frame is going to change only that frame and not the original. I can't stress this enough. It's so much easier than just copy and pasting in a new frame. Like, you don't have to select everything, and then have to also copy the color and then paste it and go through all that head. No, just click this button and you can edit it from there. It's so much easier. Please, I beg you, do it like this and not the hard way. It's so much easier than select a copy, which also works the same way, paste, and then all that other stuff. No, just click this, please. Do yourself the favor. Also, in addition, I want to mention this. We have the mirror button. Another thing, as you saw me turn this on, just a barrier so you can see what the other people see when it's exported. This light box thing, which if this is toggled on, it just lightens any of the other layers so you can focus on the layer you selected on. It's useful sometimes, but you can also just turn it off. Overlay and underlay, it's kind of node selective, so you have to have specific nodes connected with node library with all this stuff, but you have to make sure it's connected in a certain way for it to work. But I'm not going to explain that. I don't use it enough to explain it in a way that will probably be understandable. So, this is just another thing where it just kind of focuses on what you have currently selected. Again, I don't use these buttons nearly as often as I probably should, but we don't talk about that. Also, if you just paste something in the same frame, that's the same thing. It's going to shift to like that, just so you know it's pasted. It does that for a reason. It's annoying, but like, it just shows you it pasted. It's there. But I don't need that. So, there's also extra stuff like locking and all that. You can also have stabilizer turned on over here, which I normally have it turned on at 10. You can turn it up all the way to 100, but like, it is so laggy that way, and I don't like that, so we just leave it at 10 over here in my stuff, because it's less of a headache. It still keeps my stuff somewhat clean, but you know, it doesn't lag my computer. You can also import stuff by final import, or just through here, but yeah. There's other buttons, things of that nature, also window settings, so you can like switch it depending on what you want. I just have a personal layout that's on the default, so I leave it this way, so I don't mess with it. Also, for those of you wondering what is drawing, it's just this. I don't mess with this mode because it kind of doesn't really do you justice if you're going to animate, so just leave it in camera view if you're going to animate, which is probably what you're going to use this program for. So library, it's just kind of saves all the stuff you have there, including if you put puppet rigs or you save something using this button, I believe. Yep, make a symbol, it will save in here, but I'm not going to do that. I already explained onion skin. I feel like the only thing I need to explain now is just color sets. You can import color palettes only if you already have a pre-existing color palette in another Toon Boom file, or if you have saved it to your library, I'm pretty sure. I do have an example, but I would have to dig for it, so I can't pull it up as of current. You can also make palettes by clicking on here. You can name it if you want, but I'm not going to. And then you can add your colors, which I will show you how to add colors in a second. You can also remove the palette just by that, but you can also change the organization, which, I'll do this, and then you press this, and it pushes it up. It's pretty cool. Also show color palettes. I don't know really what that does, because I don't really turn this on. But, honestly, this is just see what you have. You can also just close it like that. It's pretty simple. Now, you want to add more colors? Click on this. If you want to add a texture, click on this. If you want to remove a color, click on this. It kind of works the same as the other one. this kind of works as like showing what the colors will be for all of them, but you also can link them and unlink them to be the same for each. I usually just leave it the same. I would usually just leave it linked for all though, because it's much easier that way. Unless I'm trying to, like, let's say do line art a specific way and have the color another way, then you can do it that way too. It's probably better for that. Oh, I knocked some stuff over. Oops. It's probably better that way though if you want to do line art and then go into color. That way you can select your colors and not have to worry about your line art changing. You could just switch back. Probably very useful that way. Do that if it works for you. I just haven't turned it on, so and if you lock it again, it's just gonna select the one that you have currently selected. But yeah, if you want to change colors, you double click on the color itself, and then you could switch between them without having to close this bar. But you know, let's make this a nice, better off-white. This red less vibrant, so you're not having an eyesore. Same with the green. Oh my gosh. And I'll just have this as a purple. You can also rename these either here or by double clicking in the bar, but I don't really rename my colors. And also, if you want to do gradients like this, you just switch from solid to gradient and then set it, and also it could be radial. But I'm leaving it this way. There's also an eyedropper in here, so you can select based on what's here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave him Gradient Man. Oh. No, Gradient Man, come back. There you go. Okay, there you go. Oopsies. You didn't see that. Also down here, you could just add colors to the presets, so it still stays there if you want to come back to it. It's pretty interesting. I don't use it that often, but it's there. It's there. That's about it, I think. Other than this, I think you can drag colors into a different section. Let me make sure. Don't quote me on this. Yeah, no, you can't. Okay. If you want to, you can copy the color or the ID of the color and then paste it in here, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you can. Paste as new color. Yep, it works that way. So if you want to have a color in another color palette area, you can do it that way. As you can tell, I don't do this that often, so... But yeah, that's about all you really need to know to get started using the program, other than the render button. Speaking of buttons, I actually should explain this before I stop. We have the render button. It just shows you what the final rendered version will look like. You cannot really move between frames unless you're selecting like this. But if you scrub like this, it's not going to work. You're not going to see the active movement, so because it needs to take a second to render it. So this, if you see this arrow, it's showing you where the thing will start. So if you want to change that, you either type it in or click the arrow. There was a point where you can actually drag. Okay, you can still drag it. You just have to make sure you click above it, apparently. Yeah, it was. I couldn't. You also have to be zoomed in a certain amount for some of these to work. Like, if you want to be able to drag stuff around, you have to be zoomed in to a certain extent. Because if you're not, it's not going to work. This allows you to scrub between stuff, either very slowly or fast, as you can see. Same goes with this. It works the exact same. This is for audio, so you can hear the audio when you press play. And this is for scrubbing, so when you're scrubbing through the frames, you can still hear it. It's kind of explanatory. This is loop, so if you press on play, it just keeps playing it. I'm going to turn that off though. This is normal play button, just so you can see it in the midst of its works. And that's the render button. If you click it, it will go through a whole process of trying to render it and asking, like, do you want to render this and all that jazz. I normally do not press that unless I do like a special effects, which again is node specific, and you don't really need to know that right now because node can be confusing. There's a lot of stuff in here, but it just allows you to see what it looks like in its final version, because if you apply filters or special effects, sometimes it will not show in the normal non-rendered version. This is just layer visibility. You can also what's it? Oh yeah, turn off onion skin. if you select it or turn on onion skin. This lets you isolate the specific thing so you see only that and nothing else. And then of course locking, so you can't change it. And additional thing, if you want to change the color of it, you just double click in here, and in the thing it will appear that way. But I don't like that green, so I'm just going to turn that off. And also this pencil just shows like, oh yeah, you have drawings on it. Because if I do this, also if you press on this, it will give you all this, especially if you have overlay and underlay. If you press add, it's going to keep allowing you to add, so just add close if you don't want to. And this pencil shows where you're drawing, like which layer you're on, along with the blue highlight. And also parameter, I'm pretty sure just tells you how many like edited layers or where you're at key-wise. I know there's a specific reason why this is here, but I can't really explain it right now. But what else? I think that's about it, other than saving. You know, you just save or save as. You can open here or make a new project, but that's about it, I'm pretty sure now. Oh, yep, of course I remember something before I stop again. If you change the FPS here, it's not going to stay that way in the final. So you have to go to scene, or just anything you change here. It may or may not save, so you have to go through scene and scene settings to make these edits, which you can always change the ratio and all this stuff. But yeah, if you want to make sure the FPS actually changes, you have to manually edit it here. So yeah, you can set it to be 10 FPS here, but if you don't go into scene settings, when you export it, it's not going to show up that way. So keep that in mind. But yeah, that should be about it now, because I explained most of this. Again, this is just zoom, this is just rendered, whatever. Also color. If you scroll on one of these areas with the render part, I forget where, just be careful with certain pieces, because if you accidentally change it, it will change the appearance of it, especially with this. I think on the older version, it was easier to change, so it was very jarring, but now it's specifically set to you having to click on it, which I appreciate that update. So you do not have to worry about that unless your version has it to where if you scroll in this area, it changes. Be careful there. But that's about it, you know, just basic stuff. You can always just click around and mess with the buttons to see what it does, figure out more if you want, but that's about all you really need to know to get started animating in Toon Boom. If there's anything else that doesn't make sense, I could try explaining it later or make another video, but that's about all I know. So yeah, I hope this was of some help to you, and yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you later. Bye bye.